Today, our guest is an amazing woman. She grew up in a dysfunctional family, left home shortly after school, and began making a life for herself. She has been very successful in her own career, and today she mentors young women and aids them in guiding their career as well. Welcome, Cenita Johnson. So tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up in your home.
Just to give you a little history, I was raised by my grandmother and my step-grandfather. And when my birth mother gave birth to me at about the age of 14, she and my step-grandfather came and got me and raised me. And I spent all of my childhood abused physically and mentally by my grandmother.
Wow.
Basically. My step-grandfather, he's been my rock. He's like my angel. He protected me as much as he could. He shared with me at a young age that he was abused by his mother. And he promised me, he said that I would have divorced your grandmother a long time ago, but I stay here because of you. He said, just hold on, if you can hold on to graduation. So he kept his word, and I'm absolutely glad I stayed despite everything that I went through, because I know I would have been in a worse situation had I been anywhere else without him.
Right, right. He wouldn't have been able to protect you if you went someplace else.
Absolutely.
You're really lucky that you had him in your life. Angels come into our lives every day.
Absolutely.
And it's up to us to recognize when they come.
Absolutely. My step-grandfather was an angel. He is an angel to this day. He's my dad. Absolutely.
So you had people in your life who helped you through those situations, and rather than living your life by default and being angry, as the other women in your life have been.
You go through anger, though.
But rather than accepting that,
stand there.
Right, accepting that that is just the life you've been given, you chose to leave that life, and instead of defaulting to what all of the other people have defaulted to, you used that anger to change your life and become the person that you are. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, for years, I used that anger as fuel. How dare she tell me that I would never amount to anything. But after a while, I remember a friend of mine sharing, she said, Cenita, you need to let go of that anger. You can't keep holding on to that because you're allowing your grandmother to win. And those words started me on the process of forgetting and letting go.
Right.
And that's what I did.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And have you forgiven them?
I had to.
You have to.
I had to.
So where did you go when you left home?
I went to the Air Force. I decided that I would go to the military and get away.
That was the quickest and easiest way to hightail it.
You know what? Although I did not enjoy my time in the military because I went to another regimented controlling environment, basically. It was the best decision I ever made. I got away from home. I met a lot of different people. I got to know myself better. It was just the best.
You then finished up with the Air Force.
Yes. I think I worked at a temp job for a while. I'd already been approached by a couple of modeling agencies at that time. I met an agency in San Francisco that someone took me to, and they wanted to send me to Paris immediately. So I kind of knew that that was the path that I would go on. Because even when I was in high school, I would get calls to the house about modeling it. But it was never really anything that interested me, because one, I didn't consider myself pretty. I was that big. But it was just, it came after me. Again, that was a path that I took, and it was the best thing.
I think with your modeling, as you were saying, you felt kind of called to it. What I have really discovered is that when you're in tune with yourself, and when the opportunities present themselves, that you recognize them.
True.
Because opportunities come into our lives every day.
If you're listening and seeking,
if you're listening, people don't. Right, and people don't recognize, all they're doing is so busy focusing on all of the negative that they're experiencing, that even when the positive experiences come into their life, they don't recognize them because their focus is elsewhere.
Right.
And your focus was seeking what you were looking for.
Right.
And it kept coming to you until you finally
Right.
accepted that this is the path that I should take.
Right.
And good for you for recognizing that.
Yeah.
So then what happened after you finished your modeling career?
It actually, I moved to 2000. We had my union, the SAC union, was in the middle of a strike with the commercials, and that was a great part of my income at that time. And I really didn't want to model anymore. Mentally, it bored me. Emotionally, it bored me. I always wanted to write those type of books that I read. I wanted to do the public speaking. I wanted to inspire other people, but I never felt that I had anything to give. My dad, my grandfather, called me, and he was sharing with me this product that he had just gotten a patent on. And after getting off the phone with him, I stood in the middle of my living room and I said, God, I know I'm supposed to write books one day. I know I'm supposed to become a public speaker and help people one day. But you know I'm not ready for that. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that yet. But I think there's an idea in this house somewhere. No, seriously. And I thought I was kind of cuckoo when I did this. And I went through all the cabinets in my apartment and the drawers or whatever, looking for an idea from this conversation with my dad. And I opened up the drawer in my bathroom to this little pouch that I had made to cover up my curling irons and flat irons. Because, you know, when they're hot, you can't just toss them in the drawer. You burn up stuff or melt the shampoo or whatever. And for my modeling bag, when I would travel around or going from the gym. And I looked at this thing. It went, ah. So I bought some fabric and tried to make these things, make something a little bit more marketable than what I had put together. Because it was basically a mitt from
an oven mitt.
That had slipped on my iron. So I went and got the fabric and cut it exactly. And I was like, I got it. So I made a couple of handmade little mitts for flat irons. And I started marketing at my fashion shows and my print jobs, because hairstylists or whatever. Right. My agents bought some. The models started buying them. The hairstylists started buying them. I think I sold them for like $3 or $4 at the time. Bought a sewing machine. Didn't know how to sew. Taught myself how to sew. And then gradually, from the feedback from the hairstylist, I created more than one size. So to make a long story short, now I found my, I guess you could say, light again. I have my products. I'm writing my weekly blog, putting it together to self-publish. I have a humor book that I'm writing that kind of mocks the relationship books that we all women read. I'm working with this volunteer program with young girls, and I'm continuing to grow. And I realized that none of the ups and downs define me. If anything, as long as I continue learning and growing, it just makes me stronger. And hopefully I can share that with other people. And no matter what, yes, I do have something to share.
Yes, you do. You do. Thank you,
Thank
Cenita.
you.
It was wonderful for joining me this afternoon. And thank you.